So what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 9 to 5 Mac Overtime. I'm your co-host Fernando, and this is
Jeff. What's up, guys? How you doing? How you all doing?
now another week is come and gone, and we were talking earlier. It was a little bit of a quieter week, especially comparatively to the last few. You know,
It was, yeah. This is episode number. Is it 9? 9?
I think so. 9.
Yeah.
We're creeping up on that double-digit
Almost.
number here soon.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm excited about that for sure.
No, yeah. But even though it's kind of quiet, I mean, we had some eventful weeks. You know, we had a couple videos that came out and kind of want to discuss that, and then also some things to look forward to. We're already in March, which is wild. So I don't know if somebody wants to name a month. Is it March Timber or what is it? Tech Tarch? You know, when stuff starts to release. But yeah, man, tell the people what you had going on this week.
Vision Pro stuff, like still working on that, and I am keeping the Vision Pro, just to FYI. So my actual last day to return it was yesterday. So I decided, hey, we'll hang on to it.
Take the plunge.
Yeah, because I mean, it's getting better as far as app support and stuff like that. There's a lot of cool apps that are coming out, and I just feel like this is just the beginning, and there's going to be a lot at WWDC that's going to make it a better experience, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely getting a little bit of FOMO. Like I'm on Twitter a lot, and I see people like creating applications, like very useful, like utility type applications. I saw one the other day, and maybe we should do a little segment next week and highlight a couple of good ones. But I saw one that was cool where you could use your iPhone keyboard as like to replace the actual virtual keyboard that pops up in the Vision Pro, and then people being able to also mirror their iPhone so they can actually see what's going on instead of seeing the blurred version through the Vision Pro. So some cool stuff coming out for sure.
Yeah, I need to check those out. So I need this week is the review for sure. I'm putting a hard deadline on my review.
I'm holding to it.
Yeah, I need to get that out
because I want people.
Yeah, because it's like preventing me from like really like dabbling in other things. So you know how like when something's hanging over your head and you're like, oh, I have to finish this first. I can't really.
Yeah, it'll be worth the wait though.
Yeah,
sure.
hopefully.
I know Jeff.
We'll see.
Yeah. And then also with like even more accessories are coming out. Like Spigen sent me their carrying case, which again, I think I'm gonna end up just going back to the Apple Store and picking one up, man.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because again, the FOMO is real.
Like it's such a young product that it's just people are still trying to figure it out how it fits in.
Yeah, I mean, there was no question about like what it could do and how powerful it was. It was just more so the social aspect of it and just like having it on your face that I think over time. Just like we got used to like walking into a Starbucks and now everybody's on their phone looking down, you know, we're probably going to get used to everybody having some sort of VR, AR glass. So.
I don't know about that, man. I think that's like,
You think there's levels to this? You know,
there's levels to this. Yeah. Like it's one thing because I mean, you think about like even before phones, like people were reading books, right? Like
True.
Like you had your head down looking at a book, but to have like your face covered, your eyes covered out in public on a regular basis and seeing everyone else do that just seems super weird. Like
I know it's definitely like a dystopian thing. Like we're in that we're about to cross into that Ready Player One moment where people are just like living in stacked trailer houses trying to escape their life.
Yeah, I don't see myself ever using the Vision Pro out in public like that. The only way I could see myself using it is on a plane. That's pretty much it. Like
for sure.
Yeah, or at a hotel, like in my hotel room. I can't see myself using this out in public. I can never. I don't think I could ever get over the stigma of looking like a complete dork. 100%. Even though I already look like a dork, I don't want to look like more of a dork, right?
Yeah.
So I need the less dorkishness in my life. But yeah, I feel like it would be hard to overcome that stigma.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, I feel like, I don't know, like in 5-10 years, it could be a little bit more normalized and you might not feel dorkish or as dorky, you know? But, you know, we'll see how it evolves over time, in my opinion. You know, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, that's the Vision Pro. So, I mean, if you guys have some last second questions or comments before, you know, Jeff puts that thing out, definitely leave them in the comments here and we'll take a look at them. And he'll answer those questions in that video. But yeah, let's get into this week, man. I know that iOS 17.4, I think it was RC came out, the release candidate. Yeah, how was that?
Good. It's pretty stable. So I did a roundup of all the features in 17.4. Of course, you have all the EU DMA stuff, which
Yeah.
I didn't really get into because I'm not in the EU. But
Mhm.
there were some really cool features that I wanted to highlight. Podcast transcription is really
Big.
cool. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like just the name podcast transcription doesn't sound that exciting, but it's actually
Yeah.
really well implemented. So it's like the lyrics in Apple Music, where
Mhm.
the lyrics are real time and they sync along with the actual song. This syncs along with the podcast, and the transcription is wildly accurate. Like even my
Yeah.
Kentucky twang, it's has no problem differentiating that and actually
Kentucky twang.
having accuracy there. So
No, yeah, it's definitely impressive. It's definitely impressive, and it's like one of those features where uh, you immediately feel like it's been there for forever. Like it was just that's when you know it's like a good feature. Immediately being there, and the fact that from an accessibility standpoint, it's there. It tracks everything super accurately, and even no matter how long or short the podcast is, it works just as well as the lyrics that are put in there, and it's done automatically, right? Like
yeah,
as a creator, as a podcast person, you don't have to transcribe it yourself or do anything additional. It's just there, which makes it
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And there's like transcription services that you used to have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
Rev.com being one of them. I used to pay for like my YouTube videos to get them transcribed. And it
Yeah,
would be like 50, 60, $70 to get that.
yeah.
It was by a real human that would sit there and transcribe my
Oh
video.
wow,
And they would often get it wrong. Like they would
that's
often get
crazy.
stuff I'd said wrong. Whereas this is extremely accurate and you can just tap and it will just jump right to that section. It even has the chapters like highlighted as like
Broken up. Yeah.
yeah, it's really nice. You can search in there. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
like for a podcast, you know how like just think about like if I said something in this podcast like um I don't know,
Think on your feet. You gotta think on your feet.
gardenia. I'm just looking at this
Yeah.
candle I got on clearance at World Market. It's
Yeah.
called a white gardenia. So if you want to search for the word gardenia, I'm thinking it'll get that right, and you can
Yeah.
find that right in the podcast app.
No, for sure. Which is cool. The one thing that I want them to add, which I'm sure will come eventually, the same way that they do with the Apple Music lyrics, when it's like a duet or there's multiple people in a song, it'll let you know like who's singing. I would love that to come to also to the podcast portion of transcription. Because as of right now, I believe it's just like one ongoing transcription. It wouldn't say like Fernando said this or Jeff said this. So I think that'll come in the future, but that'd be something cool that Apple could add into the podcast transcriptions.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, it would. Huh. I guess you would have to like say who's who.
Maybe, yeah, or it'll like have to determine that it's two different voices. I saw somebody
Mhm.
posted, I think it was Stephen Robles on Twitter, that he uses a combination of both now this new Apple podcast transcription and then Riverside, which is what we're using right now. Riverside can do the actual individual people that are speaking, so he kind of just
Yeah,
like consolidates them together, and then it gets put into Apple Music or Apple Podcasts,
yeah,
which is cool.
yeah. Another top feature was Apple Cash virtual card number. So now you can use your Apple Cash card like a regular credit card.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
you can
Okay.
generate a virtual card number, and it even has Safari autofill support. So like you tap the little autofill, and it actually even shows your balance for Apple Card right there on the
Whoa.
autofill
Okay.
button, which is really neat.
Yeah.
So that's handy. That makes Apple Card or the Apple Cash. I keep saying
Apple
Apple
Cash
Card.
Card. Yeah. They,
Difference. Apple
yeah.
Card, Apple Cash Card. Yeah, there's a little
Yeah.
bit of a difference, but it makes that card that much more useful, right?
Damn, they're going into like almost full financial services mode here now, which is not. I mean, it's not super surprising, but I definitely think that the Cash Card or debit card, whatever it's called, is definitely a very underrated thing. How it's
For
like you
sure.
can easily have money in there immediately. You can pull money in, pull money out, and if you have it with a savings account, you can literally pull money out of your savings account and within a split second be using that money via Apple Pay with the Apple Cash Card. Right.
Let
So
me
it's
hold
I
something,
mean,
man. Let me
yeah.
hold something.
It could be a slippery slope. The money is almost too accessible, but it is cool how it's so so quick to get done. Like you buy yourself a Vision Pro with the Apple Card, you get 3% cash back. Boom! That same day you're spending that $100 on the
Yeah.
Apple Cash Card.
Yep,
So
for sure.
they're going with it.
And then we have music recognition update. So, the built-in integrated Shazam recognition now has a
Mhm.
little ellipsis button in the upper right-hand corner. When you tap that, you can now add the recognized song directly to your Apple Music library, or you can add it directly to a
Okay.
playlist.
Okay.
Or
That's nice.
if you're listening to classical music, it's smart enough to recognize, hey, do you want to add this to Apple Music Classical as well? So pretty
Nice.
slick.
Do you still use that app, or do you even use Apple Classical?
Yeah, all the time actually.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, because look, I got this book.
Talk to me. Bring it over.
A friend gave me this book. So it's called Year of Wonder. It's kind of it's kind of geeky, but it is classical music to enjoy day by day. So literally every single day from January. So today is, what is it, March 1st?
Mm-hmm.
So the song I need to listen to today is something all through the night. It is a traditional Welsh classical song. So it gives you like some background of the song.
Okay.
And it tells you like some of the history of the song, the composer and stuff like that. But there's literally a song for every single day of the week. So I use Apple Music Classical a lot. Yeah, it is very much though.
Yeah. Shout out to whoever got you that.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out.
Nice. No, yeah, I mean, that's something that I don't really use, I guess. I didn't grow up on classical music, and I didn't play any instruments, unfortunately. But I guess, yeah, it's definitely getting good use. So it's a good idea that Apple kind of separated that into its own little app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's other things. Stolen device protection was updated to have the to be enforced that 1 hour delay when not in a familiar location. So you can enable that. And then there's battery health updates. I think we talked about that last week, where it incorporates like your cycle count, your manufacturer date, your first use date, and it gives you just a battery health score like normal, just like the Mac, and it'll do that. So that's a little bit updated as well for iPhone 15 users only, though.
Okay.
So that's on iPhone 15 like lineup feature that's only available for those devices. But yeah, lots of other stuff as well. Tons of other stuff, actually. If you want to see the full video, I'll have it linked in the description, and you'll be able to click. I always hate doing that. Like, where do you click? I think it's right here.
The
card, you click right
somewhere?
Here. Yeah, you click right here. This little card that appeared right here. You just click that guy, and you can watch that video. But come back to the show. Come back to the show, though.
Afterwards. Or finish the show and then go. One or the other.
Yeah.
But that should be out, I think, next week to the public, right? Around Tuesday, maybe? So in other news, one of the big news, which I didn't really realize was going to be such big news, but like the Apple Car project being totally canceled. I didn't realize how much money Apple had invested in R&D already. They were saying something in the tens of billions of dollars, which is wild, right? For you to just squash a program like that, I mean, you're sitting on some cash. Yeah,
it's insane.
I mean, it definitely makes sense because like Apple's already so integrated into the Apple CarPlay features, and everybody I mean, aside from like maybe like Tesla owners and things like that, most people default to CarPlay as like the infotainment system because it's better than 99.9% of whatever any other manufacturer is making. So they probably thought to themselves like, why mess with the hardware of a car and all that comes with that, right? And let's just, people are using CarPlay anyway, and manufacturers are partnering up with us anyway. Let's just control the car from a software standpoint and let them deal with the hardware, which I guess is like a smart move.
Yeah, to a degree, but then we started hearing about certain companies like getting away from CarPlay, wanted to do their own thing. So, and Apple is traditionally like, they like to control the whole stack, but in this case, they don't. So it's not surprising, but also surprising. It's surprising to think about how many billions were invested in this. But still, I'm not shocked that it was canceled, just because like this feels like it's been going on forever and there's very little progress actually being made.
Like, I wonder, because obviously like Apple has their standard of doing things. Like, I wonder what the biggest hurdle was. Like, why did they stop? Was it something that wasn't working? Like, apparently there was a leak that they were trying to replace the steering wheel with Siri, which is absurd. I can't even ask a follow-up question to Siri right now. as much as we love Apple, Siri's the one piece where it's like, I don't know if I would trust her right now, especially now with my life in a car.
Siri, take me to Disney World, and then you would be like in like Death Valley, Las Vegas or something.
But yeah, no, it literally reminded me of when Michael Scott was using a GPS for the first time and drove right into a lake.
Yeah.
Who knows what the actual determining factor was? Maybe they're done bleeding money, done with the R&D. And like I said, maybe they're just like, let's just focus on CarPlay and control manufacturers and from a software standpoint. Because I'm sure to some extent, at one point, CarPlay will be enough to help with full self driving or keeping lane keep assist and things like that. Because I'm sure Apple's collecting a lot of data.
Someone made a good point that maybe the fact that Apple was making a hardware like a physical car
Hmm.
was making manufacturers, traditional automakers nervous, and was making them want to steer away from using Apple CarPlay. So maybe this would actually make it so that more car or traditional automakers will like be back on board. They won't have
Yeah,
that feeling of there's a threat.
for sure.
So
Oh yeah. Like imagine the competition that they were feeling, or the monkey on the back that was like getting heavier and heavier with like Apple stepping into the car industry. I mean, there's so many things that I would love to have known, and maybe who knows? Maybe Apple will come back around at some point. But imagine like the car that would come out of that manufacturing plant, probably pretty pristine.
but I can't. I keep remembering that meme where the car's flipped upside down and it's like
Yeah,
has a lightning port plugged in,
yeah. Somehow it'll still
like
be.
this guy.
It'll use like imagine how many pin connectors, like the Vision Pro with
Yeah,
the dev strap. Imagine how
yeah,
many pin connectors you would need to charge that thing.
quite a few.
Uh, right. But yeah, I mean that's the Apple Car news, and it was a much bigger development that I personally thought, at least. So leave some comments down below if you guys have an opinion. Curious to know what your thoughts are. Were you like looking forward to an Apple Car? In general.
Were you?
I mean, I wasn't like waiting for one. It would have been like one of those things, almost in the same light as the Tesla Roadster, where it's like like Apple like kept talking about it. There was always news like 2 or 3 times a year about it, but it's like it'll get here maybe at some point, and when it does, then I'll care about it. But I didn't really care too much about it as of right now. I don't know about you.
I did not care one iota. Like
Yeah, right.
I could not have cared less about the Apple Car. Like it literally the idea of it, it just seems so ridiculous to me. Like I don't want to drive a car made by the same people who make my phone. Like I
And my
just
computer and
yeah,
yeah,
it's just I don't know. I don't even know why I felt that way.
yeah.
It's just like
Like let
it
me
just
separate a
had
little bit. I don't want you
yeah.
to own all of me.
Yeah, it's like, dude, everything like you already have my phone, my laptop, my now VR headset,
Yeah, for sure, you got all my data. You know
my
everything about my
watch.
families. Yeah. So
Man,
so Apple's got to let go of the reins a little bit. But in a nice little segue to that, because we'll talk about EVs real quick. I did have the opportunity to go check out the Tesla Supercharger opening for Ford EVs, which was cool. So if you guys want to hear that more in depth, I'll give you guys a little synopsis. But definitely check out our sister site Electrek to get a full ins and outs of that. But basically, Tesla opened up their superchargers, their V3 one specifically, to Ford, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what you think about that. What are your thoughts as a Tesla owner?
that's a great thing to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't really do a lot of traveling, like long range
Hmm.
traveling. So it maybe if I did, I'd have a different opinion because I don't want
Yeah.
like sometimes it's hard to find an open supercharger spot.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, you're gonna have more like we need more chargers, not less.
Yeah.
But at the same
Because
time, it is cool. If I was a Ford owner, I'd be ecstatic.
for sure. And it's definitely like it was very interesting because they held this quick little meetup. I was there for like 20, 30 minutes, and it was at a Wawa, which is, depending on where you guys are, it's just like a big convenience store. It's like a
I love
Sheets.
Wawa. That's
I
great.
love Wawa.
They are so nice inside,
Yeah.
man. They have good food, and it's just like
Great food.
it's a luxury
Yeah.
experience. Have you been to Bucky's, by the way?
Like once. I've been to like one Bucky's. I gotta
Yeah,
go. There's some crazy ones, but Bucky's is, it's like a mall. It's like a gas station mall,
yeah,
supposedly.
yeah, yeah.
But no, yeah, this Wawa, you could tell because there was some Tesla owners that were just like there charging their car, and then you see this like fleet of like 8 Ford cars kind of parking there, and they were like looking, they were like, what is going on here, right? So I mean, there's definitely like room for efficiency improvements. Like if you pull up in your Ford, the way where the actual plug is located is I guess driver's side top left, like where the hood is. So it takes up 2 Tesla spots technically, because like the Tesla charges on the complete opposite side, I think. Oh no, it does a rear passenger on the left side, but it basically it's just a little inefficient. So like one Ford Lightning was taking up 2 Tesla spots. So it was kind of throwing some stuff off, and I'm sure things will get a little bit more standardized as time goes on. This is a transitionary period for sure, uh, but it's just going to be interesting. Like you, I don't really travel too much. I do probably 2 road trips a year where I use superchargers, but I was also talking to some of the Ford employees. It's like a psychological thing that they had to do this for. because most people aren't driving 300 miles a day. So you're charging at home. It's much cheaper, more efficient. You wake up to a full tank of gas, quote unquote. So just having the ability to use a supercharger is more so just like a peace of mind thing than like a necessity, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Like it's all about peace of mind.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. Like if I was a Ford owner, which who knows, I might be in the future.
Ooh, okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'd be happy about that just to know that I could. I'm not going to get
Yeah.
stranded somewhere, right? So
Exactly. Because from what I hear, like the other charging networks are just a little, more unreliable, a little less confidence inducing, as
to
they
say
say.
the least.
Yeah.
To say
So,
the least.
but you guys want to check that out? Like I said, go over to Electrek. Ford said that they will be sending free adapters to all current and new Ford EV owners through, I believe, July or June 30th will
Cool.
be the last day, which will be nice. And then what's cool is that it's plug and play. There's no additional, like, you don't need the Tesla app. You just use the Ford app. You plug it in, starts charging. Ford said that they're passing through all the chart. Like Tesla's the one making the economics decisions. Like Ford is not making any money off of it. So if anything, Tesla's probably coming out on top. Like they're monopolizing the modern day gas station, which is maybe kind of scary. I don't know.
For
We'll see how
sure.
that goes.
And they I'm sure they get a lot of tax benefits from this too.
Yeah.
Like opening it up. But like say you're a PR dude or you're
Yeah.
a writer and they're like, "Hey, I want you to come check out our new like compatibility with the Tesla network."
Uh-huh.
So you live in California and where was this?
This was in like New Allendale, New Jersey. Like it was 30 minutes like south of me and like on a single lane highway.
So I'm just thinking like if like you lived in LA and they was like, "Hey, come check out our new thing," and then you just literally just go plug it in and it's like, "Oh, it's
It was
charging," and then
the
you go
demo
home.
was it. That was literally it. I was like, so is this it? And he was like, yeah, pretty much, and it was funny because so obviously it was mostly Ford people, but they had like two Tesla techs there just in case like something didn't go as planned, and they were supposed to be there like on the down low, like they were supposed to be there discreetly, like this was Ford's show, this is Ford's thing, and they show up in a Cybertruck. And of course, like all the people at the Wawa are like looking at the side, taking pictures of the Cybertruck, videos of the Cybertruck, and not paying attention to the Ford people.
That's hilarious.
So I just thought it was funny. It was such a Tesla move. I was like, of course.
That is hilarious. Still in the thunder. Huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, so it's open today. If anybody's got a Ford, if you have the adapter, go try it out. You just literally plug it in with any V3 charger and it'll work. And it's supposed to be, I think the app is called Blue Point or something like that Ford uses. And yeah, so you can just route everything through there. Supercharging is part of their supercharging network now. So you're good to go if you're a Ford owner. So congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, guys. You did it.
You guys did it. But yeah, that's what I did this week. So that was a good time for sure.
Very cool.
And then we also got into, so now we're in March, some potential March event or maybe press release stuff coming up this month. We definitely got, well, I'm not gonna say definitely. I'm very confident we're getting new iPads and possibly a little revamp to the MacBook Air lineup, which will be cool. What do you think is going to be happening? I know we talked a lot about iPads, but let's give them a little synopsis of what we think is happening.
So new iPad Air, 12.9 inch, new iPad Pros, OLED.
I'm ready for it.
And a little bit thinner bezels.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the main gist of it. And of course the MacBook Air rumors as well. But I think that iPad Air, like we said last week, is going to sell a bunch of those guys for sure.
For sure. No, I'm definitely ready for an iPad. Like I can tell, I have an M1 iPad Pro, and I'm definitely somebody, I push what my iPad can do for the most part. So for most people, the M1 iPad Pro is more than enough. But I can definitely see my iPad slowing down a little bit. I also have the baseline model, so it's only 128 gigs. It's only 8 gigs of RAM. But I can see, because I use it for video editing, and it's starting to kind of choke and hiccup a little bit every now and then.
So when people say that, I've always thought that was an interesting concept, like because there could be two reasons for that. Number one, it could be that the software that's using is improving in such a rate that the hardware is falling behind.
Yeah.
Or it could be that you just have too much junk on there and you need to restore it. And
I think it's number two. Because I looked at my storage, and Apple's got to help us manage this system data category. Like, please. Like, I have please help me manage this because I have again 128 gig iPad Pro, and as of I was finishing a video this morning, 67 gigs worth of system data.
So that's probably just cache. Like that's probably
Yeah.
just cache from the video. So like if you
No, but
um
then LumaFusion already, because I know LumaFusion has its own cache too. So LumaFusion had 29 gigs of storage. So there goes 3/4 of my storage gone.
yeah, so you need to
You
figure
know?
out like what is that? Like and
Yeah.
they don't really tell you. Like it's just
hmm
completely
Like I think I'm gonna restore my iPad today, just to kind of clear it out, remove stuff. Because like I don't, again, I only use this iPad for video editing and thumbnail editing. I don't really consume too much content on it. I don't really like. I use my Mac for like Slack and communicating with you and the team and things like that. So I don't really need it to do anything else besides run LumaFusion and Affinity Photo. And now I work off of external SSDs, so I don't have any of the footage on the iPad itself. So I think that's what it's going to be until hopefully a new one comes out.
yeah. So it's funny because I don't know if it was the week before last or last week, we talked about multiple Thunderbolt ports.
Yeah.
And I think you made the comment that that would look a little weird, which I acknowledge, yeah, it would. But
Mm-hmm.
then a friend of mine pulled out their Surface, and then right there on the side were two USB-C ports. So I forgot, yeah, the Surface does that already. I think that would be a good thing to have. Maybe
Yeah.
if not side by side, to have a Thunderbolt port on each end or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need multiple inputs on this
Yeah.
device for sure.
No, for sure. And I think with the newer one, the Pro level one, that we should get new pin connectors and a new Magic Keyboard. Like I think Apple's kind of stirring something up to help solve that pain point because we've
Yeah.
been like these. If Apple continues to make these more and more powerful, putting M3 chips in there and letting like the app ecosystem getting more and more complex, like you're going to need some more I/O at the end of the day. People are
For
going to want to
sure.
put an SD card in there. People are going to want to plug in more peripherals. So if Apple wants it to be what the iPad is capable of being, and I don't even know what Apple if Apple knows what they want the iPad Pro to be, but they're going to want to put a couple more USB-C ports or Thunderbolt ports in there.
Yeah. And user profiles, please. Okay.
User
Thanks.
profiles. Yeah. And then that'll muddy up again the iPad lineup. And we're definitely going to talk about that as March goes on, but it's just the iPad lineup is going to be a mess in terms of what we can recommend to people.
Yeah. Unless they get rid of some stuff, which I don't think they would, but
I think they'll finally phase out the iPad 9 generation or
I
keep
hope
it
so.
as purely like an education product, maybe. Uh, but then yeah, we'll have the iPad 10 generation, which it's funny because like the cheapest iPad can do 98% of what the most expensive iPad can do theoretically. Maybe a little bit slower, and with the hardware being a little lesser than the Pro, but if it'll work the same exact way. Like you're not going to feel like you're using, especially now with all the form factors being pretty much identical. You're not going to feel like you're using something that's $400 versus $1,300. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Now do those lesser models support what's it called? What's that weird mode called that I don't like?
Stage Manager?
Stage Manager. Do those lesser ones support Stage Manager?
No. So the only ones that support Stage Manager are M powered ones. So
Okay,
iPad
that's what I
Air
thought. Yeah.
is the cheapest one that can support Stage Manager. And then there's some other ones like, M2 has the hover feature. There's like a little bit of segregation in terms of functionality, but it's very small. And
Very
like you
small.
said, like you didn't even remember the Stage Manager term because not a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
If anything, like on the iPad itself, it makes things feel a little bit more cluttered. It's a Stage Manager for me is only used on an extended monitor. I never use Stage Manager on the iPad itself,
It
even though I have the
just
13-inch one.
it just doesn't to me, if they truly believe this was the best way to go, it would be default. Like it would just
Yeah,
you wouldn't have a choice. Like it would just be and that's the thing, it's like they're giving us this choice, but they obviously don't truly believe it's the best way to use an iPad because
yeah.
if they did, you wouldn't have a choice. It would just be the way it is. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like I feel like it should be either all
The,
in or not.
yeah, no, I agree. And isn't Stage Manager on macOS too?
Yeah, which I never use. Like
So I'm gonna try it out after this podcast. Like, does it look like an iPad?
similarly, yeah, a
Right?
little bit, yeah.
Like, I wonder why you would want Stage Manager over what macOS already does with the floating windows on macOS. You know?
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, it's something I really need to give a fair shot. I really need to do that, and
yeah,
I probably will eventually. But I think there may be some maybe some potential use case, but I just don't see how, like, because the Mac is already so good at multitasking.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just not like an iPad at all.
No,
So
for sure. No, I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes in March. Definitely subscribe to the channel, and also honestly, let us know if you guys use Stage Manager on Mac OS and how you use it. Be cool to know.
yeah, let us know in the
Well,
comments. Yeah, for
mhm.
sure.
Some use cases. And then kind of to round this off, we did get some news. So, I mean, this kind of spurred by a question from the last video. Somebody commented, I believe it was Female Village Elder, said, so what have you heard about AI coming to Apple software? And there have been some rumors and leaks and inklings of Apple really pushing forward on generative AI and inputting it or implementing it into Siri. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think? I mean, any improvement to Siri is a net positive, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty humongous improvement to Siri.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how Apple implements it. Obviously, they're not going to go
Mhm.
to the cloud. It's going to be on device. We already
Yeah.
know that, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they go about this. It'll be fun. Yeah, and that neural engine is going to be all that more important, and maybe that's the reason why they put so much emphasis on that. I mean, it's already used in a lot of, like, with photo editing, and there's applications that use the neural engine heavily,
Yeah.
even with some gaming applications and stuff like that. But Apple has, year over year, they've really beefed this up, and I think that may pay dividends with the AI on device
Mm-hmm.
that we see.
Now, do you have any, I guess, like out of box use cases for Siri right now, aside from like turn my light on or set the temperature? Is it mostly just like command based?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I use it. As of right now, there's no other use case for me. It's like, hey, play this. Hey, do this, and that's pretty much it.
Because realistically, like, you can't ask Siri. You can ask it some basic questions, but you can't really go in depth. Like, I wonder if you can even do this. Let me see something.
Yeah. Everybody mute yourself so it
Show
doesn't turn
me
on your AC.
pictures of animals that I shot in September 2022.
That is specific. There's
Yeah.
no way.
See, show me pictures that I took of animals from September 2022. Yeah. So it just basically pulls up Bing search. It's
Okay.
not pulling up like stuff from my device.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
just stuff like that, like just being
Yeah.
able to be real specific, or take me to a certain section of the, like, launch
Mhm.
the music app and open up my radio tab. Like,
Yeah.
launch music app with the radio tab open.
And that, I mean, that would be perfect for, like, I found myself wanting to say, so like I'm the type of person when I listen to a song, I'll listen to it a million times until
Same here.
yeah.
Yes, so I'm just sick of it. Yeah.
You know. So when I was going on a run, I have like a running playlist, and I wanted to hear the song again, but I had it on shuffle, and I couldn't really like go back to it, or so I wanted to be like, play the last song on the playlist again. That's what I wanted to say, and it got confused. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, so frustrating.
So I mean, and that's simple,
Or you want to be able to say, like, sing the lyrics along. And I don't think it does that. If it does, it doesn't do it very well.
Yeah.
Or just hum a tune, or like, there's just so many areas where this thing could get better.
Just be better, Siri.
Yeah, just be better. Like, even just command based stuff, it often frustrates me. Like, it's so unreliable. And
no, for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully that's a big emphasis on iOS 18. The generative AI, but again, everything will be on device, so people can still have that encrypted peace of mind, and then just be more useful at the end of the day. Like, I would love for Siri to be more useful. I don't really use it that often. I always, even for HomeKit stuff, I usually default to going physically into the app because it's just easier to use HomeKit in the app for me.
Yeah, so, and even that doesn't work most of the time. Yeah. It's like device. What are they?
I have a couple budget light bulbs, and you can tell why they're budget.
What does it often say in the home app? It's like device is, it's the most frustrating thing in no response. Oh, that's so annoying. It says it all the time on my lights.
Yeah. Or it's like updating ... but it stays in that thing for forever. That happened last night. I was trying to put my daughter down, and she has one smart light in there that I turn off, and it would not turn off unless I unplugged it. Because it was updating.
And it's like critical. You, like, she needs that light off.
Turn it off. Like, turn that thing off. So, God. So let's see. I mean, that could be a fault of the actual light. Like I said, it's like a cheap light bulb from Amazon. That's part of HomeKit, but still, let's get it together,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Nice. But I mean, that should that's all we have, right? I mean, is there anything else you kind of want to tell the people before we jump off?
Just be sure to rate us on the Apple Podcast app, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to leave a comment and tell us how you use Stage Manager. If you use Stage Manager, tell us how you are, whether or not you are planning on buying a new iPad. Just let us know all the things down below and talk to us, because we do hang out in the comments. So holler at us.
No, we would love to have maybe like a little section at the end answering 2-3 questions that we pick, highlight some people that watch the show and things like that. So that'd be fun to kind of interact with you guys. So definitely leave some comments and we'll answer those comments in the next one.
Absolutely. All right, man. Hope you have a great weekend.
Happy March. Enjoy it. Everybody's probably paying their rent today, so have fun. All right, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Right. We'll talk later.
Take care.
Peace.